Howdy folks, Kirk and Jay here with Kirk Giordano Plastering. Today what I'm going to show you folks is we got two adjacent buildings here, and usually it's a garage and a house next to each other. Well, they had a hairline crack here, and the contractor says, gee Kirk, what can you do to prevent it? My response is, well, we can put an expansion corner joint, but that is not going to prevent it. What the question should have been is, what will you do to prevent it? And here's some of the things I've learned in 30 years. And is Kirk an engineer? Absolutely not. Kirk's a stucco guy, a plastering contractor, not an engineer or electrician or plumber. Anyway, I was telling him, I said, if you really want that structure not to hairline crack where it joins, and he already knew this too because I got here and I see it's done, take your concrete, drill holes in the foundation here, drill holes in here, put some rebar in there tight, and then use this epoxy. Use that. See, Jason knows all this stuff. Use an epoxy to hold that rebar in there. After you hold that rebar in there, then you lag bolt both buildings together. Where you have your studs, lag bolt them in there. Then you take the plywood from here and you put it over the plywood from the adjacent building. That's about all you can do. We can go over this 100 different ways, but that's the best you can do, and then makes my job easier where the two structures are tied in now engineerically, if that's a word. They're structurally sound. What I'm going to do too is, we went over, the contractor and I, he says, well, Jay Kirk, what if I put some flash in here? I said, you have flashing that's about 1.5 feet? He says, no, I've got same flashing you've got. This stuff here, the Florida flash, is 9 inches. I said, you know, on my vertical joints, when we do paper and wire, we'll do it where it's about 1 inch and 1.5 feet. So I said, here's what we'll do. We'll take some paper, it's about a 2-foot piece of paper, we'll shove it in here, like so, and we'll just leave a little bit exposed. Now that goes in 1.5 feet. So that's what we're going to do on this whole thing. I'm going to take that. Anything more than 1.5 feet is overkill. So we're in there 1.5 feet here. I'm going to take it all the way up, and we're going to take some paper and crisscross it here. And by the way, guys, any of you contractors, homeowners are going to do windows and doors, this is the way you do a tie out. You break the paper, you break the stucco out where you have the paper 6 inches and you have the wire at least 3 inches. That way we have a good waterproof sealant and we have a good overlap so it won't get a hairline crack. Anyway, what we're prepared to do right now is I'm going to fish some more paper in here, about 1.5 feet. That's just, and by the way, I had to take out about an hour to get all the rocks out of here, but it can be done, guys, if you want to take the time out to do it. We're going to go ahead and paper and wire this, and then this big gap right here, you say, gee whiz, water's still going to go in there. Yes, it will. But I'm going to put a polyurethane caulking in here, either Sikaflex or Rainbuster in here that will seal and fuse this to it. That's about, when I get that waterproofing done, I'm going to stick this corner expansion in here. Will that stop it from hairline cracking right there where the two meet? Maybe. But that's about the best a fella can do if you do all those things according to what should be done. So anyway, we're going to put this back together. I'll show you it as we're doing it. You folks have any questions, of course, you could always email me. Here, where I have foundation, I'm going to take my paper down past the mud sill to about right here. And then I'm going to take my wire and concrete it in here. We're going to put a bonding agent and skim the whole thing. That way, everything blends in here. There's a lot going on here, but I try to simplify it and show you some of the most important things because people ask me often, Kirk, if you color coat my house, will it stop that hairline cracking where the two buildings join? No, the color coat won't do that. It's going to be hard enough to stop this hairline cracking with everything done proper. So when we get to that stage, we'll show you how we do it. All right, guys, we're at a stage now where I've fished that paper in here. The longer the hammer, the better it is for grabbing these guys right here. And all you do is work your way up, fish them out, pull it out. If you get them to fur nails, hit it, pull back, guys. Get that paper exposed, get the wire out of the way. Here's another tip. If you guys are watching this, more than likely you got to do this stuff. What I do is I'll take my gloves, I'll cut the tips off. See where I'm bleeding already, but anyway, now that we're all sealed in here, I'm going to put paper here and across here. I got a pipe here. What I'll generally do is make a little hook. Let's see. So I'll come here and make a little U-shaped hook. Then I'll pull this guy underneath. I'll show you why we do this. Come on now, get under there. Okay, so now all we need to do is cover this mud seal, guys. We don't need to cover more than that. We need to tie it in. We cut this out right there. I'll show you my one more piece in case you folks are not certain what the heck to do from here. I cut a piece of paper. I generally use my roll. Tap that roll, give me a straight cut. Boom, come on down. Put that guy right there. Now I'm going to just go over everything. I want a tight corner there too, guys. And this could have wrapped around, but I'm going to double my corners anyhow. When I come to something like this, now I'll just put a straight cut, fish it between it, and then these penetrations, we have to put caulking on every penetration. What I'm doing here is just making it a little bit prettier, guys. And then back the same way, cut it here. And because I like to double my corners, and here I've got an expansion joint going. It doesn't take but a couple minutes to actually put a couple more layers of paper over the inner and outer corner, especially where I'm going to be nailing that expansion joint. So I will put another piece right here. Is this code and do you folks have to do it? No. But when I do my expansion joint there, I want to make sure that we're watertight. Okay guys, we're on my second tube of caulking. There's a big gap in here. And what we do is we squeeze it in there and we just keep squeezing it. We go through a couple more tubes. That's okay. Caulking's cheap. We just keep filling it up, guys. Keep going back and forth. I'm sure we'll burn this tube out also. But this is not really what I was meaning to show you folks. Okay. I just stick that guy there. This is what I want to show you guys. Now, when I worked union back in the early 80s, I used to hang a lot of these things, and I'd get different responses from different contractors. Some guys would say, Kirk, cut the wire first, then install it. Some guys would say, put it on top of the wire. Some guys would say, oh, I heard every contradiction known to man as far as these. If you Google it, you'll be there all night trying to figure out which way is the best way. As far as on top of the wire, on the wood itself, on the paper itself. Me, there's no code for this particular thing I'm doing. I'm doing this just as a I told the contractor this would help a little bit, so that's why I'm doing this. All right, guys, this is the way I prefer to do it. I'm going to put this on here, and by the way, too, guys, I could nail this on. I could use my gun. I don't have very much of a flange, so let me see if I can catch it a hair. Come on now, get in there. Got it. This is called an expansion joint. And yes, you could use them inner, outer. You can use them on solid walls. There's just no limit to expansion joints. And then the last thing I'm going to do after I get this is we take our handy dandy hammer and push this wire in right here, guys. I already did it, but we want to push it in. My new wire is going to go from here on top of here. And that's how we get, well, that's about as close as we can get to all the requirements necessary in order to do the best we can so we won't get a hairline crack. Anyhow, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wire this, and when I'm finally done, I'll show you the completion of it. Okay, guys, we are at the completion of this. No video on lath would be complete unless I showed you the last thing. The roll of wire is in a circular motion, And there is a difference between how you put the wire on. This way is backwards. Follow the groove, usually, not always. And now it's furred out, meaning this is against the wall here. These, every 6 inches it's red and it furs it away from the wall. So my last piece is going to go right in here, and I'm basically using a staple gun. Furry nails are outdated. You can use furry nails, but you'll be here forever. Why use furry nails when the wire's self-furred? Doesn't make much sense. Anyway, guys, that's best you can do on a corner detail where it's adjacent from house to house or garage to house or any of those other kind of details. My name is Kirk. Jason on the camera, and of course he actually did a lot of this. We thank you for watching, and as usual, folks, we'll see you guys on the next one.